longer stranger to the esteemed professor, former director, and UP Institute of Creative Writing and director of UP Press, our incumbent Vice President for Public Affairs. Please welcome Dr. Cristina Hidalgo.
Good afternoon, colleagues and friends. Thank you so much for that very generous introduction. Mas mahaba ata kaysa dun sa aking inspirational message. Nakalimutan ko na yung mga ibang nabanggit-banggit doon, pati yung aking ginagawa nung ako'y 15 years old. Just a couple of disclaimers. Yung PhD ko, yung doctorate ko fake. Hindi medical doctor, PhD lang. I feel that in UP Manila, I have to say that. Tapos, I don't only write about married women. Meron din namang single, exciting, romantic women. And also, of course, men. When Vice Chancellor Jojo Tayag first told me of her intention to invite me to give what is referred to in your program as an inspirational message, she mentioned that it was because of the many books that I have written. So, I assume that your interest in me is as a writer, rather than as a university administrator. I am very pleased about this because I do see myself primarily as a writer. Long before I reached my teens, I wanted to become a writer, and I hope that long after I have left my present job, I shall continue to be a writer. The question that everyone who undertakes to write something, book or essay or article, always begins with is, I think, why? Why write? For the professional writer like myself, the answer to that question will range from the unsentimental, because it's the only thing I know how to do, to the pragmatic, it's a way of earning a living, to the romantic, because it's what I need to do. It's my obsession, it's what I am. When the question is asked of me personally, I assume that what is being referred to is the writing of what I am proud of, the writing I presume to call literary, the writing into which I put everything that I know and everything that I care about. And my answer to the question of why I write is this: I write because I need to make sense of things. Life is not orderly or meaningful. It is arbitrary, random, full of unsolved mysteries and dark secrets. The very act of writing is a way of imposing order, creating meaning out of chaos. When one writes, one has to detach from the experience and organize it into a narrative or an explanation or an argument. In other words, one gives it form. The experience might be a scene I witnessed as a child when in the middle of one hot afternoon I stumbled into something in our living room that disturbed and confused me. Or it might be a problem I encountered while reading a book in a classroom, something which puzzled me because it undermined what I had previously taken for granted. Or it might be an event over which I had no control, which forced me to change the direction of my life. A life I thought was set in a calm and predictable course. Life has a way of catching us unawares and confounding us. Each of these experiences left me helpless and vulnerable. My protection against this senselessness has always been art. My pen, and these days my laptop, is both talisman and weapon. I write so that I might understand, and I write so that I might remember. Because there is that other mystery, memory. Memory is notoriously unreliable. It is, in fact, treacherous. Even when there are actual records of a happening, those will differ widely depending on such things as temperament, affiliation, the biases of the authors of those records. When there is no record, the happening will disappear. In effect, it will be as if it never was. I think that perhaps this is the reason why all of us write. What we produce might be a scholarly essay, as you have mentioned, or it might be a poignant memoir about a dead person, deeply loved and greatly grieved, or a tribute to an institution like UP with a long and distinguished history. We write to describe the experiment, the journey, the relation, the dream, and its fruition. To ourselves first, and then to the rest of the world. We put it down in black and white, or in full color, that we and others might take its full measure, and that we might remember. Otherwise, though when those who were witness to it are gone, the experience or the person or the institution will fade into obscurity and eventually be lost. Though art is often described as a form of self-expression, the best writers that I know do not write from mere self-interest, as a form of ego gratification, although that might come into it to a certain extent. They do so from a desire to share something they believe to be useful or helpful to their fellows. I believe that the act of writing is quite brave. When one writes, one bears thoughts and feelings. Indeed, in some forms of writing, like memoirs or personal narratives, the author veritably strips away all masks and disguises and stands finally naked and alone for all the world to see. The act of writing, I think, is also quite hopeful. One writes trusting that someone will care about what one is saying, that someone might even care after one is gone. Finally, I think it is quite generous. The desire to make available to others one's hard-earned knowledge or wisdom is an act of great goodwill. Today, therefore, as you launch and relaunch your centennial books and essays, words that you offer in all good faith for the examination of the world, as a fellow writer, I offer you my congratulations. And as your colleague in the University of the Philippines, I offer you your university's gratitude. What you have done reflects well on all of us. We thank you for the courage, for the faith, and for the generosity. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay.